Radio silence. Oh, John had technical difficulties right at the time of podcast introduction. Standby.
Cheekies, can you give me a link? Can you post the link on the chat?
Yeah.
You know what? He probably got a virus. The Club America virus. It ruined his computer.
Stand by, listeners, all those who are listening in. We just went live, but our intro music and host had technical difficulties, so we will wait for him to reconnect. I could bust some cumbias if you guys like.
You got a Pasito Tuntun?
Sure.
Si bailas de aquí, si bailas de allá,
so I can start by stating a little bit of the topics that we discussed for today. First on the agenda, I believe it was Chivas game over the weekend versus Monterrey. There's John. You back, senor?
Yeah, sorry about that. For some reason, I'm not sure why my computer decided to restart. Left Windows.
What's up,
so
80?
Far I got all my spiel, but it was a pretty good spiel. So where did I get cut off before I realized I was done?
I didn't hear anything.
You played the Club America song and then your computer crashed, dude.
No, I played that because there was no sound at all.
Yeah. So sorry about that. I know that we're on live right now. This is the CantinaMX podcast. I'm on a phone right now. System here as soon as we get going, but I want to thank everyone for joining us. I'm not sure where I left. So you guys didn't hear any of what I said, just so I'm clear.
Yeah, correct.
Wow. Okay. So do have three topics tonight. Well, we'll have several topics, but we want to get in specifically three topics tonight here on the CantinaMX podcast. So thank you guys for joining us live on YouTube. And of course, you can listen to this and every other previous edition of this podcast and the other incarnations of our podcast in the podcast center on iTunes. So again, we do appreciate your patronage. Tonight, we're going to do, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but we're doing a deep dive on Chivas. So we have some Chivas experts with us here tonight, and we will see how long it lasts before they break the bottles and start going after each other with broken bottles. So always fun to have that. And we'll talk about Raul Jimenez, he and his big non-move to China. A lot of interesting angles in that story. And of course, we'll finish it up with the team that we always talk about here on the CantinaMX podcast, the U.S. national team, and how their January camp is proceeding with the players that they have, and of course, their new coach, who is the old coach, Bruce Arena. My name is John Jagu. Thank you all very much for joining us. Appreciate y'all putting up with some of our technical issues that we've had. I know that we have a telephone number for y'all to call in if you want to call in on the show. Cheekies, have you posted that number yet? I can't see right now.
Not yet. I'll get it set up here shortly.
Well, there you go. Cheekies will post our number. That is, of course, Albert and Cheeky Scampa, who is on the Texas side of the table tonight. Once again, another Third Coast, West Coast rivalry. Y'all know it's only going to end in bloodshed tonight because that's how these the Tejanos and the what do y'all call yourselves out there?
The best coast.
See, they're so unified that the Californianos will have a
Angelinos, John.
Angelinos. Thank you, Joel. Joel Aceves, how are you this evening?
Pretty good. Enjoying the America Santos Copa MX.
Joel, you've I'm not going to lie, but it seems like that you have lately have been paying a lot of attention to a striped team, but the stripes are not red and white, and they're horizontal. What's up with that?
That's like Chivas B team right there. They have our former coach, Chepo. They have Ulises Davila. They have Chaton Enriquez.
So Santos isn't really Santos. It's ante Chivas is what it is.
No, I mean it's just interesting to see how some of these players, even coaches, will do. They get ridden off.
Now, because like right now they're wearing the black and the yellow stripes. Is this like watching Bizarro Chivas, like Chivas in a different dimension?
No, it's very much Santos.
Well,
What's up, Ron?
what is it that turned you on to Santos? Was it Iragorri's construction hat?
The cowboy hat?
The cowboy hat? Was it that?
Hey, I was like, why didn't I think of that?
How you doing, gentlemen?
Ronnie, thank you for joining us. Has joined our lovely illustrious podcast here. Ronnie, are you keeping an eye on your cremitas right now?
I was watching a little bit of the game. I left my studio maybe about 20 minutes ago, so I'm trying to hurry up to watch the last bit of it.
Yeah, well, your boy Darwin scored a real cracker. It was very nice. From about 30 yards out, put it in the corner. So he's definitely if he gets a this could with Sambuesa out, this could be his chance. This is his last chance to do it.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right about it. It's his last chance. But I'll be honest with you, John. Watching America the first game since the final.
Right.
It just seems
you can't seriously already pass judgment on one game having to do with what they dealt with.
I feel used. Okay, I feel that's what I did. I mean, watching Moy should be there, and and even to a certain degree, I was like, you know what? Why the hell are we giving Sambuesa to Toluca in their centennial year?
Well, I thought the centennials don't mean anything, Ron. So what difference would it make?
But for the media, it does. Because I know that I made a comment, last year with that, Toluca, they don't really have anybody this year. I mean, that's iconic. I mean, that's why they had to bring, what's his name, Cristante back and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Oh, my goodness,
I honestly think that Toluca is going to do well.
Well, they couldn't have started off any better than they did.
Yeah, those were two good goals, man.
Yeah.
Those type of look like that, dude. I don't mind. It's like, it is what it is, dude. On one of them, although right. I think Marchesín could have done a little bit better in his placement.
No, but you're right though. To keep a ball on a trajectory like that for as long as it did, it's that's an impressive shot. There's no question. And both of them were mirror images of each other. Well, Ronnie, it's funny that you jumped in when you did because we were, and I'm not kidding, we had promised the audience that we were going to go into a serious, deep Chivas dive.
Oh,
For the first few minutes of the show, so I don't think it'd be a better way to start the Chivas deep dive, and I'm sure Joel will agree with me, is if we, but I can't play it. 'Cause I'm not hooked up. Damn it, I'm on the phone. Well, we'll have to wait. But anyway, so we will be doing a deep Chivas dive. So there were just a lot of moving pieces with what happened with Chivas this week. A lot of of course their 2-0 win now. Now, Joel, I know you didn't get to see, maybe saw the replays. Do you feel that the red cards were justified? I know that the Gallitos was absolutely justified, but the second one, did you feel that the second one was just criminal?
Well, I think the player was already carded. He should have just known better at that point.
So do you think at that point, Joel, it falls more on reputation than anything else? That why guys get more red cards than others?
Oh yeah, I think that does happen. I'm not sure if Jair has that reputation, but if you're already on thin ice, you know.
And we don't know what he said. He could have said something really crude about like his wife, or something really messed up.
Well, whatever it was that he said, I'm sure the ref before he said, and if you say anything about this, then I'm going to give you a red card. Kind of like in Bull Durham when the umpire's like, "Did you just call me a cocksucker?" And then was I calling? And then they just have that conversation, and then he says it, and he goes, "All right, you're out of here." So
he knew where his thin skin was at and push his buttons probably, and that's what he did.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So he got a red card. Oh well, but for Joel, for Chivas to be, they're up 2-0, and for them to, they came really close to holding on, being down 2 guys. So I think that you have to be at least somewhat proud of their effort there.
Yes, John, a great showing by the goalkeeper too, where they came close to losing.
Now, do you feel, seeing what you saw there, do you feel more confident with having him back there than maybe somebody else?
No, yeah, he's earned a spot as a Chivas first choice keeper.
So because the Monterrey had like 40 something shots in the game, which is, those are like 1970s numbers. As far as shots on goal, so yeah, that's or not on goal, just shots in general. But good on them. And tell me about your boy Pizarro. You've seen him now for a couple of games. Is he is he worth the shirt?
Oh no, he's definitely quality. I don't know if he's worth the 20 million.
Let me ask you this: if Chivas wins a championship, maybe if they win 2, would he then be worth the 20 million?
Yeah, that would be. You would have justified the cost. But no, he's been a quality player, and it's good to see that he was a fan of the team, as was his family, and you could tell he's enjoying his time.
Hey, well,
Yes.
when you hear like the comments that like Almeida makes today, about
the national team.
Just about managers and Mexican league execs not having faith in the Mexican players and basically calling out the false patriotism of Mexican football, say like where they'd go and hire a foreign player. Are you? How do you feel about Almeida when he talks like that?
No, you know what, Ron? I think that guy's just promoting himself.
You think he's he's playing to the masses?
Yeah, before he signed on with Chivas, his agent was in Mexico, and that was around the time that the national team was without a coach. So they were trying to put him in the national team. So
he did come to Mexico with 3 suitcases full of clothes.
Yeah, no, that was once he was hired. But
No. When he came over. I'm serious. They found.
So you don't see sincerity in his professed love for Chivas.
Not fully, man. Because then he's gone on to say how it's difficult because he only plays with Mexican players.
Dang. Is that a call? No.
Yeah, so one moment he's talking about how he has it more difficult in the next.
Well, but
You
one
know.
of the things he also said today was that he said that the reason that their foreign players are favored is because they're more foreign coaches. Which again, I have to, again, yes, there are foreign coaches in LigaMX, but a vast number of the foreign coaches are guys that have been around LigaMX their entire career. So I have a hard time calling those guys, technically, yes, they're foreign coaches, but they might as there is LigaMX as Nacho Ambriz or Paco Valencia.
Can I ask Jolie a question?
No, you may not. You may not.
No, I just want to ask Jolie, in your opinion, who's more sincere in their love for Chivas, Almeida or Higuera?
Oh man,
Higuera.
that's a good question, and I'll say it's Almeida. Higuera's just milking it. He's milking Chivas for all it has, man.
And you know this, Joel, because
he's
he's
doing
an
his dream job.
Americanista, right?
Yeah, Higuera's an Americanista.
Do you believe he's La Gata de Vergara?
Hey, Pelaez called him that, and
He's drinking the Kool-Aid.
Pelaez called, and you can see he kind of got butt hurt.
Yeah.
And then even changed his Twitter. In his Twitter, he put, in the about him section.
He even has a picture of a little kitty cat too, a little kitty cat emoji.
Yeah, so
which I thought was very cute. Now another thing that I think even Vergara said was, hey, even if we don't win it, now he's backpedaled and said, hey, now if we don't win a championship, it's okay as long as I have no idea what, or it wouldn't be a fracaso. How is that? How are they not obligated to win the championship, Chivas? I mean,
they are
every season. Oh,
season. If you're gonna consider yourself a big team, that goes without saying.
I mean, you're Chivas. Consider Chivas? Do you consider Chivas a big team?
No, sir. I've called Chivas the most famous mid-table team out there, man.
Come on.
That's what we've become, man. It's not easy to say it, but
Hey, now hold on.
I'm gonna get an accident, dude. I'm gonna get into an accident.
Chicos wrote a song about the Submarino Amarillo, man. So I don't know if Chivas is the most famous table team.
No, mid-table. Most of the time with the mid-table, we're happy to qualify in 8th.
You realize that by you saying that, I can never, in good conscience, play that again. I just can't do it. I'm gonna have to erase it from my little board here.
We were headed there in 2006. We were headed back to that, John, and Vergara took it all apart. The team had won. The team regularly was in semifinals.
But you know what, Juan?
I recall Chepo having locker room issues with Bofo.
But that didn't bring the team down. One player didn't bring the team down.
Tearing that team apart, and then once he got rid of Bofo, Chepo kind of signed his own death sentence. If he was feuding with Bofo and he didn't deliver the following season.
Yeah, but that wasn't the downfall of the team. Vergara got rid of pretty much everyone that was involved. He pretty much shuffled everything.
No
It's like
doubt.
a deck of cards. He just kept reshuffling it.
He has a big hand in the state of Chivas due to his bad leadership. But I'm talking about Chepo himself, his politics with the players.
Yeah, but see, now you're making it about Chepo.
You know what?
About Chepo. That's why they always had all the issues.
He summoned Pern, dude.
No, but hey, look. In all honesty, I've talked a lot of smack about Chivas, but I think that we make the mistake of calling the teams big based on European football, the model that they use over there. I think and I think that
You're talking about Irina?
No, I'm just saying that I think history will back me up on this. That our Liguilla is based basically on the NFL, on the Super Bowl. I mean, the guys that proposed it was Cruz Azul. Back when they wanted to mirror what
You're talking about Ronaldo's girlfriend, right? Irina Shayk, the model.
No. What I'm saying is that I do think that Chivas, in the grand scheme of things, I do think that Chivas is a big team. I don't think I know for comedic effect that was funny that what Joel said about being the most famous mid.
Would you say the what? What was it, Joel?
They're the most famous mid-table team, man.
No, but I mean, like
they're only popular because
most popular mid-table team. Yeah,
they're only a big team because they're popular and because they're all Mexican.
No.
That doesn't even make them big. That doesn't even make them a big team.
But Ron,
Chickies, if you think about it, I mean, if I think it's fair to compare what considers our teams big, I think it'd be to model it after the NFL because our playoffs are basically based on that.
Why are you trying to make our Liga Gringo, man? We don't model.
It's not that I'm trying. It's a fact.
we made it a long time ago, Pern.
Yeah, it's
even with the draft.
Cruz Azul's, not Billy, but his father, back in the '60s, in a way to generate more money and more interest, they wanted to say, you know what? Well, look what they're doing up north. I said, let's try to do something like that. And all the team and most of the clubs, agreed to it.
And adding to that, Ron, the old FMF logo was pretty much the NBA logo. It's like carbon copy.
No, but
so
the thing about it,
the silhouette in the old? Who was the actual player that they silhouetted in the FMF logo?
You know what? I should know this, John.
It was Jerry West.
Was it Jerry West?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they just photoshopped the ball.
They just made Jerry West the soccer player, not the basketball player.
Jerry just switched the ball around.
So it's funny you mentioned Jerry West. I was just in West Virginia a few weeks ago and at their basketball arena, and they got Jerry West stuff all over that thing. And there's a big statue of him.
There should be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He was a good player. I'm sorry, Ronnie, as you were saying. I didn't mean to interrupt. Please.
So I'm saying is like if we were to make that comparison of comparing, like for example in the NFL, I mean the Steelers have six Super Bowls,
right?
What Cowboys and Niners have 5?
Yeah.
What the Pats have 4? Like there's like the Bears, the Giants
also
have. So I mean, if one of the things that kind of ticks me off is like when you have like Jose, well, not just Jose, but other players. Oh my God, they have 20. They only like Chivas only has 10 titles in 100 years. And it's like, dude, it's like the league started in the 40s, and really the playoffs started in the 70s.
And when the playoffs started, Chivas, I don't think they won. Did they win the first one, or did they win the first last long season?
No, the first Liga America won it against Toluca.
Yeah, so that means that the last long season was because Chivas won in '69, so they either won the last long season or the first Liguilla, because the Liguilla didn't start until the World Cup.
But Ron,
1970.
Now you bring up the short season, Ron.
Yeah, well, and true, and obviously that adds more. So
I know, but in the time that Pachuca has established themselves as a first division team, they've won about 6 championships.
Well, okay.
To Chivas is 2.
No, I understand that. Joel, and obviously things go through cycles. It's not always going to be like that for Pachuca. I mean, how many liguillas or how many more if like in the 70s, how many titles would Cruz Azul have if we played the 2 short seasons? They'd probably have more titles. Same thing with America in the 80s. So I think that when we consider our teams big and stuff like that,
Ronnie, do you think Cruz Azul should have more titles?
Honestly, yeah, they've been they've had a lot of they're a great team, dude. They really are.
You're not getting any complaints from me. I've always thought Cruz Azul. I mean, I hold them in the highest regard and always have.
What makes a team big?
Here's my opinion on Dave.
I'll say this, Dan, and seriously.
It's when that girl says what's what she said.
No. I'll say that, it's not,
Do you still
cheese.
want to show me your cucumber?
It's not cheese. It's not cheesy stuff like El Equipo Más Grande de Mexico, crap like that, like Pachuca. Where you can win a title and then the following season, you don't even qualify, and they've done that like 3-4 times, and the press doesn't say crap about it. But teams like Chivas, teams like America, and even Toluca, to a certain degree, when they don't make the playoffs, it's the press tends to get on them.
So it depends on whether the press applies pressure on a team.
Well,
No.
I mean that's
a mixture of things. Like one my two things for a big team is big players, big money, and America would fall into that, and then big popularity, which Chivas is coming into that.
Yeah, but why are they so popular? That's the question. I mean, what has made the big teams the big teams? Why are they popular?
In Chivas' case, it's because of the all Mexican, because of Mexican pride and identifying with that. And in America's case, it's America's case is the excess of knuckles in the Ciudad de Mexico.
And also, but you know what, with Chivas as well, they came in at the right time when they won, when they started with the Campeonismo era. It was like the timing was right, because before that you had like León, who had, they had gone on a winning streak, and they didn't come nowhere near close to what Chivas managed to do. So
well, I mean, the advent of television is really what made. Obviously, is what made America popular, made Chivas popular. Certainly, and it certainly is what made Pumas popular, because Pumas didn't come into the league till '62, but they didn't really start playing really, really, really well until the mid '70s, when they had all theirs, that crazy good team that they ended up with, through the early '80s, and I think that. So I think it's a combination of all three. I think it's a combination of you have to win a lot, and you have to do it with huge players, and not necessarily being big money. There should be big players, and that is what makes a team a big team, is you have to win. I mean, that's why I think you're right, Ronnie, about Toluca. I think that they. They was talk about how the Players Championship is golf's fifth major. Well, then Toluca would be the out of the four big ones, Toluca is like right on the edge as far as I'm concerned, because they've done it by winning big with iconic players.
Yeah. And like, I know that we touched on this, but you have to put yourself in a position to win it, and I think those teams have done that, even though some have failed. Spectacularly, like America in the 119th minute. I can laugh about that now. The fact that you're fighting for these things, constantly, you didn't have to play that, though.
Oh, yeah, actually, I meant to play the drums. There you go. This is Dan's favorite drop, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, Ronnie. This is the drop that Dan likes the most. Because of the little eagle sound right there at the end.
Oh yeah, it reminds me of an Escondido afternoon, dude.
I think that's why I do have an issue with with Chivas. They meet all the criteria, but lately, to me, I mean, when I think of iconic Chivas players, and I know you guys are Chivas fans, but like the outsiders, who? Buffalo?
Totally agree.
It's tough to find iconic.
Yeah, and this I have said in the past that one of the things that has held Chivas back was the fact that they didn't play foreigners, because I've always said that teams like America, Cruz Azul, Pumas, who did have foreigners, produced more national team players and iconic national team players. Where if I were to go back, I would only put Salcido. If I were to do a best 11 all time and have honorable mentions, really the only Chivas player that I would have in the last 20, 25 years is just Salcido.
For the national team?
For the national team.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
And obviously, Chicharito, but I would still put as far as center forward, I wouldn't put Chicharito, but that's a whole different conversation. But Salcido, at least for me, hands down, just a hell of a defender. Like, I think he, better than Suarez.
His World Cup in South Africa was really spectacular. I mean, he played just out of his mind. He and Rafa were far and away the best players of the team, and Salcido was a. Now Rafa played terrific, and I thought Salcido was better than Rafa that whole tournament. Rafa, good lord, I sound like I'm talking from around here. But anyway, we it is 10 o'clock. We got our half hour in, so it's a good spot for us to move on. Sorry, Joel, just to give you one last taste, Joel. Just get a little one. Joel. All right. So we're gonna move off the Chivas. We got our deep dive in. I'll have to get the sonar for that next time we do a deep dive. But I do want to talk a little bit about Raul Jimenez and with his really probably just a gigantic no story, to be honest with you. But turns out that he allegedly had a big contract to go to China, and he said no. And then he tweeted out, I think it was the two David Fighters, and he said this because they actually listen to the players over here. So it was obviously a little pop to whatever happens over in this side of the world. But I don't know how much his contract was, but I'm sure it was for a lot of money, and he turned it down. And
it's a bit ironic considering that.
Out.
It's a bit ironic though, considering that he did leave.
And he left on good terms.
Yeah.
He left on good terms. I mean, in fact, even El Tuca, was praising how he left, and that's when he was criticizing Pulido.
Right. But yeah, but I mean that's the thing though, is that maybe he's seen too many times where guys didn't have that option, but. I guess the question for Raul is, I mean, how much was the contract for specifically? Does anybody know? I mean, I heard 30 million.
53, I think that's what I heard or what I read.
It was 79 or 53 million. That's a big number.
I heard 50 as well, but I don't know how much they were offering him personally.
Well, he would normally get, I think 10. I think the standard rate, if I'm not wrong, maybe you want to. I think it's 10%, right? Just like a signing bonus.
Honestly, I'm not sure what the Chinese.
And I'm sure for other players, it might creep. Like I'm sure for Ronaldo, if he went from Real Madrid to whoever, I'm sure he'd probably get like 20% of it. But
and his wages too. I'm sure he was looking at a significant bump in salary. But good for us, I guess, as fans that he chose to stay in Europe and hope and to compete in I guess the best soccer that's out there. I guess at least that's his feeling, apparently.
Right. Well, they do have Champions League, and they made it to the quarterfinals last year, and they actually, thanks to him, came really well. They made it at least interesting against Bayern for like the first 35-40 minutes of their. I think it was the second leg because he did get a goal, and at that time they were forcing at least extra time with that goal. So it was. It was good for him. He's been injured, unfortunately, this year. He actually got injured playing those two meaningless qualifying matches that they didn't have to play at all. Is when he got injured. That's but they had the.
Do you think it changes his standing within the team? Because I'm sure like the owners or like the sporting directors are pretty.
Well, see, I guess
disappointed.
that's my question. Is that. What percentage of credence do we give to this? Is this 100% accurate, or is this just the agent blowing smoke up everyone's bottoms? Throwing out that number.
It could be, John. I mean, it could be that, the agent's just trying to fish. It's a fishing expedition.
Yeah.
To see what else he could get for his client.
Right. Which is what agents are supposed to do, and that's fine. But,
if that's the case, then I'm sure the team was all in favor of that because they've invested a lot of money in him, and I'm sure they're itching to see a return on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. I think that for what he's, when he's played, he's done really well, and so now as he's getting back into it, I'm sure that he'll have a solid second half of the season, and if he does, then and if the other guy isn't, then we're going to have to see Jimenez play in Russia. I mean, there's just no way around it.
Well, Confederations Cup too. I mean, if he plays, assuming he plays, he puts himself on the shop window right there too, before the World Cup.
He does, and and he puts himself. He's going to be like what 25, 26 at that time. So that's right when he's going to quote unquote peak, and give him. Go ahead.
If he does, I mean, if everything was true that China was trying to lure him and he decided to stay for sporting reasons and not for monetary. I mean, obviously bravo, but that brings me to another, I guess a parallel, because I had read that Tim Howard, the goalkeeper for the U.S., he had hinted about Klinsmann should have probably been out after 2014 World Cup, and he kind of he was diplomatic obviously, but he criticized how Klinsmann went after players that just could obviously wear the national team and not so much care about they didn't he didn't care, he wanted these players in Europe and stuff like that. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because I think players know that Osorio in many ways I think is like a Klinsmann, that he wants players in Europe. He's kind of he kind of thinks, I don't want to say he belittles the league, but he wants his players in Europe. And
I don't think that makes them unique. I think any coach from anywhere around the world is probably going to want their players playing in Europe. I think that's just the norm now. And I don't think he's devalued. I mean, if that were the case, he wouldn't be calling. He'd be a little bit more apprehensive about calling Mexican players playing in LigaMX. What he has made clear is that he doesn't exactly trust the level of MLS.
Well, he was a coach in MLS.
Yeah, and I don't trust him. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, don't confuse. Like, let's not be fair with your argument. I mean, most people think that the best way to get the most out of your players to be challenged in the best of leagues and the highest of competitions. And broadly speaking, everybody feels that that's in Europe. So naturally, any coach is going to probably want their players playing there. I think that's just the way it is at this point.
Yeah, but like the point that Tim Howard was trying to make was that that the no love
wasn't his beef more along the lines of anti, kind of like naturalizado, like in Mexico, where they're getting players that are not naturalized but not really raised American, I guess.
Well, yes,
and
yes.
that they don't exactly feel the jersey like other players. Wasn't that his beef?
He did make that connection, and obviously the connection that Amy Wambach from the U.S. national team, the women's, where we don't want naturalized players. She said it a little bit more bluntly, and obviously got more criticism. The way he said it was a little bit more diplomatic, but you're right, it's the same thing. The point that also one of the points that Howard was trying to make was that Klinsmann relied too much on Europe to have worked with what he had here, rather than there's the ideal and then there's the realistic, and it's like he didn't really want to work with what he had. So I don't know. I think that perhaps if it's true, one of the reasons why he didn't chase the money, Raul, was because he wants to be taken into account for Confeds and obviously the World Cup, and doing that in Europe, even if it's with
That's the reason why we should have more Mexicans going to Europe, so they can get that prestige.
Well, let's be honest. If Fernando, didn't mean to interrupt, but if his end game is that, I mean, obviously Benfica isn't where he wants to move up, and he'll move up some, doing it for Benfica. But if he scores 4 goals in Russia, so I think you're right, Ronnie, because I mean he seems like a pretty driven guy, Jimenez. So maybe he has this this dream that he wants to play, and
he needs to sort out his injuries. He tends to be prone to injury, and that's something that he needs to be able to sort out. Just because it's turning almost into like a Hector Moreno type of situation where everybody was feeling that Moreno was going to make a big move to a big team, and then he broke his leg.
Well, you can't blame that on like being injury prone.
No. I'm just saying though that he's going to miss his window if he keeps getting injured. Is my point.
No, you're absolutely right. I think and that's why I think that this particular season and that particular tournament is his best chance to make an impression. So yeah, y'all are probably right. It's probably that's probably why he wants to stay. Damn, I hope all the animals are in. Did we get the barn door closed?
That's Ronnie, man.
Jeez.
Ronnie, you can now the cats for the.
Hope everything is all right.
For your what is a food truck tomorrow or what?
I did notice, Fernando, that you did happen to call. We mentioned Chepo a few times. We won't get into that, but your Rayados, they came really close to getting incredibly embarrassed at the Tamalera.
I think they were. It was an embarrassment. They were up one player for how long? Almost a half or something.
They were up two players.
Yeah, but you gotta remember they were playing against Chivas, who has a really good coach. Knows how to manage those type of situations.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. That
Are you saying Chivas has the better of the two coaches?
I actually do believe so. He's better than Turco Mohamed, in my opinion. That if Monterrey were to invest in in more in
what do you base that on?
Well, like first of all, well, what are you talking about? He has titles already.
Did y'all hear about their embarrassing title? Did y'all hear about their embarrassing situation they had Saturday? The both coaches showed up wearing the exact same Italian suit, shirt and tie. So they were like competing in their same suits. So Fernando, who wore it best is my question.
I don't pay attention to that crap. I don't know.
Where did Turco? So Turco won with America, right?
And
he did.
And Cholos.
He did. Yes, he has league titles because he's always been in good teams. But Almeida, he had to work the team when he had garbage like Omar Bravo. He won titles with that. So just think about
Turco
that.
has more talent now, probably than
exactly. That's why I'm saying. That's why Almeida is a better coach because he's done more with less.
I'm thinking it's more like, I guess I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, all right, he's won there and he's won there.
But the reality is that if you look at both of the teams, like as far as how they've gone, Monterrey has actually gone further than Chivas has. So I think that actually kind of negates your.
Well, yes, because their team is stacked. Like even probably I could coach the team to the finals. So that's how good they are. Yes.
Wow.
Well, if you're gonna mention about teams being stacked, you can't ignore Chivas. I mean, geez,
okay, hold on.
Look at the investing that they're doing. Like Chepo didn't get that kind of love.
You're right, but you gotta remember again that so far I'm talking about just coaching, not squad. I'm just saying that the coaching that Almeida has done more with less. Remember, he won a title with Omar Bravo, man. Oh my God.
Do you think the Cholos championship with Turco? You think that squad? Can you name it?
Well, they had that Dario Moreno, and they had who else did they had?
Joel, can you tell me who the coach was when Chivas last won their title? Who was the striker?
Who was the striker?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Bravo.
Okay, I'm just making sure that reminding Pern about that.
And we had Sergio Santana too, the Luca guy.
I forgot about Sergio Santana.
He's singing Almeida's praises because he won with Omar Bravo. I just want to remind him.
No, Omar Bravo had just he had broken a goal scoring record for Chivas, and prior to that, he had helped Atlas. Atlas were close to being relegated.
I don't think Turco has lost his mojo all of a sudden. I personally think that it's probably more an organizational type of issue.
With Turco?
You know what I think it is?
And maybe he wants it too much too, because I know he's attached to the team, and that might be affecting his decision making. Maybe.
I think it's time for Turco to go. That's
It's
just my
not
opinion.
time for Turco to go. Good lord.
Well, I will say something about Turco is
Let him lose like 6 or
also
7
I
in a
don't know
row.
why Cardona didn't start that game. So there's beef or whatever, but if Turco's gonna bring him off the bench, that's not where he needs to be. He needs to be starting and playing.
He was too fat, man.
He's one of their best players. Supposedly Cardona.
Well, yeah, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but right now Chivas is a stacked team too, and I'm pretty sure, just look at it how
So who are you rooting for Saturday, Fernando?
Cambiarayas right here.
Yeah.
we're talking about coaching, not the team.
No,
Yes.
I'm asking who are you rooting for? Just tell me. You can pick one or the other. It's fine.
Well, this Saturday, it's coming up Saturday.
No, last Saturday.
Oh, of course, Monterrey.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, I'm not surprised that they gave such a hard game to Monterrey. Because the coaching and the squad, that they have.
It wasn't a hard game. Monterrey had so many shots on goal. Chivas just barely won because of
Dude,
Golazo.
They didn't win. They
Chivas
tied.
almost won. No, hang on. Chivas almost won with playing with 9 men. They
Yeah.
were playing 2 men down for a huge chunk of the game.
That's what you call great coaching. If you're down and you still, make it
So-
out, that's usually
So to you, the game was the best of both worlds, because your team didn't lose, weren't embarrassed, so they get the point to tie. But on the other hand, you get to just really just jam Joel as much as possible with Almeida by saying, "Oh, it's because the coaching was so terrific. It was fantastic, the best coaching job I'd ever seen. Let me tell you."
this has nothing to do with Joel. First of all, I'm just saying that that Chivas does have great coaching and that they have that going for them. Very,
It's because
I
I'm
commend
not
them.
gonna lie, Fernando. Normally, you come on this show and you just start just ripping everybody left and right. You, you, you're cool. I'm out.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
I only do that to whoever deserves it. And Almeida for sure doesn't deserve it.
All right.
That was basically a win for him.
Basically a win for him.
Yeah.
Well, it was unfortunate that they had that second out. The first one was indeed a yellow card. It was I'm sorry, a red card. This to Gallito. It was a red card. But the second one, but I think Juan is right though. It's a matter of what the ref said to the player, whatever it is, and it was unfortunate. Now it's funny that you guys talked about the Bruce Arena and Tim Howard conversation that we had earlier. They are going through their January camp right now, the MLS team. Sorry, the U.S. national team players, rather, that are mostly MLS based, not all, but mostly MLS based. And Bruce Arena's back. This is kind of the first time for them, for the U.S. to bring back a guy that had coached before. How's it going to go for him the second time around?
They're gonna fail. I can see it already. They're just gonna go back to the bunker style, which they're good. They're good with it, but they don't have a Landon Donovan to score off the counters, so it's gonna be much worse. They don't have a player that would be able to do what Landon Donovan used to do, which execute a perfect counter.
I'd see them qualifying to the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, is it going to be a struggle for them, or are they going to get their?
No, I think they'll struggle a bit, but I think in the end they'll pull through. The coach he knows the region. He knows
I
how
think
to.
he knows the region, but they dug themselves a pretty big hole. They're looking at pretty much a 50-50 chance of qualifying. I think they're gonna.
It's only been 2 games though.
Yeah, but losing at home is big.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen Mexico come back from where.
No. I'm just saying that losing
With 3
at home is
coaching
bad.
changes.
Letting in 4 goals away is really bad. So like, clearly the team. I mean, you could say that they're going to qualify if you're 100% blaming it on Klinsmann. I don't think that's the case. I think I think Fernando does bring up some valid points that they don't have a go-to player that's able to lead the team.
Yeah, but these other teams, they're not that. Like aside from Mexico and Costa Rica, the rest of the region, their talent level is not leaps and bounds.
Are you serious?
Not
Panama
leaps
is
and
like
I'm
doing
bounds,
very
but
amazing.
serious.
that's what I'm saying.
Honduras,
Panama, I think.
Panama, they could be strong, but they're not.
Right now, CONCACAF is the strongest it's ever been. I don't know where you're
I
getting
don't
this
think.
from.
I don't think that's true.
Oh, I absolutely agree with Fernando there. Believe me,
But
that this is the strongest CONCACAF has ever been.
no, I've seen stronger. I mean,
No, sir.
Honduras is just jumping back. They
But
still,
but not
they went,
consistently,
they,
man.
they
I'm
went.
telling you, please
I
believe me.
know, but Honduras went through like a period of just being really bad, and they're just getting back. They're just getting back in shape.
Yeah, but they have a pretty
Um,
strong generation of players coming up, right?
They do.
yeah, but who? If you compare it to older Honduras teams, they don't have those players. They don't have like a Suazo. They don't have a Tyson Nunez right now. They might for the next, but not right now. Panama's like just an older
Yeah,
squad.
but individually, teams. Yeah, Honduras individually has had good teams, but like as a whole, CONCACAF has never been stronger ever.
I I don't want to go revisionist history right here, man. I I've seen the stronger teams.
Yeah,
Just
but maybe, but are you just speaking about just like one team out of the six,
no, just
or you're just as a collection? You've seen a stronger team.
yeah, no, as a collection when we had even Jamaica when they went
Okay,
to France
so
'98, and that team held their own.
let's talk about that. Okay, so let's look at the 2006 hexagonal. Okay, so let's throw out Guatemala because they were in it. Honduras, like you were saying, had went through bad spot. So let's replace Honduras with Guatemala. Let's talk about the six teams. Okay, the USA was in there. Were the US better or worse than 2006 and 2016?
I'll be honest, I don't even remember their squad from back then. But this is obviously not one of their strongest squads for the U.S.
So you think US worse?
I wouldn't say worse. That's a bit just not as good.
Joel,
I mean, I think they always maintain this level.
So
They
worse
never
literally means not as good.
Joel, you should be like right now saying you should be agreeing with us right now because
think
a lot of
He
the
sounds a little bit like the
CONCACAF players.
senador.
No, I'm just saying like a lot of CONCACAF players right now from all over the region play now in MLS.
No, that has nothing to do with that. Well, it has something to do with that.
No,
but-
I'm just saying that Joel should be like saying, yeah, they're the strongest because look, they're all playing in MLS. And now he's saying that CONCACAF is at its weakest right now. Now
I
you
didn't say.
consider,
Oh, I didn't
you
see.
can-
That's the thing. I
you can
didn't say
see-
CONCACAF is the weakest.
I'm just saying if you can't see the correlation right there.
I'm just saying
I
I
don't know
don't see the region as strong as I saw it. I've seen it in other qualifiers where Mexico struggled. Like granted, there's more tickets, but
Right. So
we
let's go
had-
back to 2000 because that was the last time Mexico clasificó caminando con nuestro.
Yo siempre digo que el fútbol algunas veces, en mi punto de
the
vista,
thing
es
is,
como un
we
ajedrez.
can't really compare it right now because it's
Well, that's
two
what I'm
games
saying.
in.
No, I think we can-
I'll wait to the end. To the end of the qualifiers to say it.
Well, then Joel,
If Mexico califica caminando,
Joel, are you
John.
going to abstain from this exercise? Are you abstaining from this exercise?
yes,
John,
yes,
You are.
John.
You are abstaining.
I have to agree with Joel that this is one
Okay.
of the weaker ones
Okay.
that we've seen in a while. And I'll tell you why. One, for starters, the very team that we're talking about is in a slump, which is Team USA. Right? That's team one. Team two, Honduras. They're not the teams.
That's
from the
not team
past.
two. Team
Hmm?
two is Costa Rica,
No, what I'm saying.
and
team
they're
two,
just
like
as strong.
no.
Honduras hasn't
they-
typically qualified for World Cups.
Honduras was struggling to get into the hex.
They always struggled to get into the hex. Remember the
Wait a
last
minute,
hex?
but-
They had to beat Canada. They gave them a whooping, but they had to beat Canada to get into the hex in 2014. That's what they do.
And like I mentioned earlier, they're still, as Joel pointed out, they're still going through a bit of a transition, but they're only going to get better at this point. So I mean, they got through
You
the
can't-
rough part of actually
Hey,
qualifying into the hex.
You can't say that they're only going to get better because the whole Copa Centroamericana is going on right now. Honduras played Panama. Did you see that the coaches almost got into a round of fisticuffs?
They did.
Yeah, yeah, because he accused him of paying off
Ronnie,
officials.
what would you have done if Rueda grabs was it Suarez, grabs him by the head like the mountain had the Dornish king? What was his name?
I would have done one of those Beto
And
jiu-jitsu moves.
and just blasted his head open like the mountain did in Game of Thrones.
Nah, I would have done one of those things like the Beto moves where he does jiu-jitsu and just take him to the ground. That's what I would have done.
Smash him.
What's that?
Smash him.
I used to know a camera guy in Houston actually who was he was nationally ranked in judo in his weight class in age, and he would tell me one time, and he would that he was in Spain and he had his camera with him, and some guys came up and wanted to steal the camera. And he's like, "You guys need to walk away right now," and they didn't. And he said, "It's all leverage." So I'm assuming jiu-jitsu is the same way.
Yeah. So no, I don't think this team and that's not to say that Mexico's up there.
Well, maybe y'all are misunderstanding me. I mean, maybe individually the teams might be like worse or better than like previous versions of that team, but there are a lot more teams now that play a lot better in the region than there ever were in the past.
Cuba's becoming respectable, slowly.
Well, I think we just got used to seeing some of these teams now, like Panama. We've gotten more used to them because we've seen them play more often. But Trinidad and Tobago, I'm not losing sleep over them. Same with Honduras. I've seen stronger Honduras teams.
You do remember that they Trinidad and Tobago beat Mexico at a Gold Cup.
Yeah, at a Gold Cup. But
okay.
How long ago was that, though, John? I mean,
last year, 18 months ago.
And who was the team that we tied before the qualifiers started last year? Was that also Trinidad and Tobago?
That was Trinidad and Tobago, yes, 4-4.
Was it like a 4-4? Okay.
Yeah, it was a pretty amazing game. They have a great squad.
My point is that I remember, believe me, back in the, even up until 2006, which is what I was trying to say, is that, yeah, Panama was in the hexagonal in 2006, but they were much stronger. Costa Rica is stronger than they were in 2006. Probably the only teams that aren't are the U.S. and Trinidad. And I think Honduras is getting better because they've gone through the transition. They're using their Olympic team. That's
okay.
A good team.
Well, here's a thing though. Here's a thing.
Don't you bring a thing to an argument, Mister?
No, what I'm saying here is now the teams obviously, one of the things that one of the reasons why Chepo got kicked off the national team was because of the results that he was getting, at home with teams bunkering, and it was working for them. But I still don't consider a team when a team goes and bunkers, for a result. They're playing for the result, but they know deep down that they don't have the moxie, they don't have the capacity to play al tú.
I totally agree with that. When you bunker, you just basically are seeding the ball to the opponent, hoping that they just don't score on you.
You're playing percentages, but you're also mentally you're telling yourself, you know what? I don't have it to play. I don't have it.
But they don't seem to have a problem doing that when they play them at home.
What's that?
But they don't seem to say that.
Well, here, keep in mind, in the last World Cup qualifiers, Mexico should have won in Honduras. There was that fake penalty that where they took
2-2.
And then didn't Andres Guardado get kicked in the face at the end of the game?
So
and then the ref right in front of the ref, and the ref just looked at him like, yeah, and it was in the box too.
So that's also one of the points that I'm trying to make is that I don't think that this is the strongest CONCACAF has been.
That has nothing to do with how strong it is or not. Even though
I agree, definitely not the strongest CONCACAF.
No,
Like,
I don't. No, I don't think that has a measurement. Just because they bunker doesn't mean it's not. Is that's not a measurement of what is strong or not.
he's not saying that.
No,
That's
Not
what
I'm
being
he
the
not
said.
saying that.
strongest, not being
I'm
the
not.
strongest though doesn't equate to being shit either though.
No, but what I'm
And
saying
that's
is that I've
that's the
seen.
picture that you guys are kind of painting because
I think it does though.
you're trying to make it seem like the entire region sucks. So of course Mexico is doing well.
Well,
And
here's the
to
way I look at
overshadow
it.
the fact
When
that
they-
Oh
you're
no,
hang
trying
on
to
a
that's
build
not.
an
Oh
argument
snap!
to make it sound like Juan Carlos
No.
Osorio is doing a crap job, even though he's only
Why
lost to
why
one
are you
game.
taking it there, Dan? It has nothing to do with
That's
that.
exactly what you guys are doing.
No.
Nah,
This
man.
is what it is. Mexico stays.
We do have
You
we do
remind me
have
of
one
my
of the more
ex-girlfriend that would just
talented
always bring up the
generations.
cheating. It's not fair.
Mexico stays. Mexico stays on a certain level of skill, and this generation, like Juan said, is one of the top. But they go down. There's ups and downs. Central American teams, the rest of CONCACAF, do ups and downs right now as well, but on a lower wavelength, on a lower level than Mexico. And right now they're on a lower level. They're
Damn, I had to go
rising.
there.
They're rising. They're rising. Cada quien en su lugar. They're rising, but Mexico is going to always be a
Look,
little.
all I know is that when a team is bad in CONCACAF, they're not playing Mexico or whatever it is, and they're playing them 1-0. Mexico whips those teams 6-7-0. That's what I think of when I think of a team as bad in CONCACAF. And that used to happen as much in the Hex as happened any other time, and those days are over.
Yeah,
So
but the teams
Joel,
we beat
over.
6-0 were,
I got
were
a question for
very
you though.
were like the very weak teams. Like
That's not true, though.
That
That's not true.
was
Joel,
Kiki Fonseca scoring against all those island teams.
do you
yeah,
think-
But
we haven't
those are island teams. I'm not talking about island teams. I'm talking about Honduras. I'm talking about El Salvador.
we haven't
the
beat
teams
them
that-
with big score like that in a long time though.
That's my point.
3-1 was
Thank you,
probably
Juan.
the last
Thank you very
time.
much.
That's his point that even the weak teams are a lot better than what they used to be.
No,
This
but
weak
see,
team that you're
no,
calling
look,
weak
well, this
is
is
a
my
lot better
point.
than what it was.
We
back
never
then.
really did beat the Honduras 6-0.
point
Go
sucks,
down the
man.
list. You're
Yes,
not gonna
they did.
find when.
Well, maybe not 6, but 4 for sure.
All right, when? I don't remember us being.
1993
Are you guys saying that there's more
In-
gordiwapas now than before?
in Honduras and
It's
in
been
the
over
Estadio
20
Azteca.
years, man.
Yes, exactly.
But that's just one. You have to go back that far to find one example.
Example.
How
What?
many more examples do I need to find?
Because we do make it seem like Mexico was just smashing through the competition, but reality is we got eliminated from '74 World Cup. We got eliminated from
because
'82
they
World
were
Cup.
out, they didn't get to play any
You
games
know?
in Mexico.
I know, but see, that just goes to show we never really truly dominated these teams. We
So
would
then why are you
win.
giving Osorio such a hard time?
I haven't been giving him a hard time. What?
Yeah, you have.
I
All
haven't
you guys
even
are against
mentioned
them.
him.
You've been against him before he even had his first game.
Okay, look, now you're jumping ships, man. I think CONCACAF is one thing. Might be where Osorio is against rivals outside of the region in top tournaments. We don't really need a coach for this region.
Well, that's a pretty small
to
sample.
qualify.
That's a pretty small sample, and you're only going to use the one game. So
What one game? There's more to me. It's more than one game because I criticize this whole Copa America Centenario.
You've been writing
the way
his
he
ass
played.
for many games.
But I haven't even brought him up. I mean, he has been a non-issue to me for this.
I just think though
tournament.
that the fact that he's been doing it, he's been qualifying so far. The qualifying process has been doing it without a sweat. It's pretty good considering the fact that this almost never happens, at least in modern times, because going back 20 years is too long.
Well, I mean,
if we're
no
looking
six
back if we're looking in
La
recent
Volpe,
times,
when La Volpe qualified too, Caminando, that was also a week. You know, a lot of the teams weren't as strong as they can be. You know.
I think we overestimated Honduras when we played them, and even Chepo or Piojo could have ended that streak, like Pern says, and beat them, and then beat whoever El Salvador, who we played next.
not disputing that.
Osorio's credit is inflated a little bit. I think any coach.
I just think that you guys, well, maybe not so much you, but the argument just seems to be kind of like conflicting. Like you can't have it both ways. Like either the region is getting better or it's not. Like you use past results. I don't know. I just
It's in a
think
slump.
that
The region is in a slump right now. Mexico is up top. They're on. They have their generation that's really good, and everyone else is in a slump.
I don't
it's-
think so.
Especially
I think Costa Rica is about as good as they've ever been. They're still building or still continuing what they did in the last cycle. The U.S. is the notable
drop off.
drop off. Yeah,
Costa Rica won the hex. They were at the top of
Even
the hex a couple
even
of
the U.S. hasn't dropped off that much because it did make the final of the Gold Cup,
And let's face
and
it,
their centenario wasn't that bad.
the
no,
U.S.
I think
when
I think
they fall very, 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 and they come back up very quickly. They always have.
I think though the glaring though when they were struggling and while they were losing all those games was when Klinsmann was trying to make the team play a certain way, and when they reverted back to a more conservative approach, they started getting results. I mean,
Yeah, they start
they're dependent on that. So I they're I think this is a very weak team for the but besides them though, Honduras, like you said, they're starting to field some of their Olympic players that are coming around. They're developing. They're going to be as good probably or nearabouts just because we
They're
haven't
going to
heard
be
about
a
the
better
players.
team in the hex, and this is why. And Ronnie brought this up a long time ago. It's like when you have a chance to eliminate a team like Honduras, you just put your foot on their neck. I mean, they had a chance to eliminate them. Granted, it was a they had to score like 4 or 5 goals, but they could have done it. They didn't do it. So
Well, we'll see in March when the United States plays Honduras. How will Honduras? I think Honduras will come out with a tie that game.
So Mexico, before they go to Russia, has Honduras and the U.S. in Mexico. The 2 games before the Confed Cup.
Well, I think the bigger test still though is going to be the Costa Rica game because we might be without Vela, which one can argue that he was like the driving force for the positive results that we saw.
Well, I mean, apparently we talked about this a little earlier. Today they announced that he was a game time decision tomorrow, so it can't be all that serious.
I don't know. I heard he had a torn meniscus. That doesn't sound like he could just go back the next week.
I mean, sir, that's I never saw that anywhere. I mean, believe me, I'm.
Well, say
maybe I'm misinformed.
Say he is out though. I don't see him as a real impact player. I think Tecatito is the number 1 guy right now. He just needs.
I disagree.
Just needs to stop disappearing a little bit, but he can change the game in an instant.
It took Osorio all of 1 second of seeing that guy play firsthand to be like, all right, I'm gonna have to find a way to start him. Yeah. I'm gonna have to find a way to start him. That to me speaks volumes. He's like, I had it all sorted out, and then this dude showed up.
It was like when Piojo saw
and I'm like, crap.
Herrera and Guardado play for the first time. Oh, those are guys are going to be my midfield in the World Cup, not Negro Medina and Hulit.
They're different players. They're different players. I mean, obviously on a 1v1, then yeah, Corona is going to definitely outshine Vela, but there's just a bit of class that Vela has that nobody else seems to have.
Not to rain on your parade here a little bit, Dan, but I know that I don't know if you're watching, but the Copa MX match between Santos and America.
It was 3-1 when I walked away.
It was 3-2. It ended 3-2. What a great game! I mean, that was unbelievably entertaining.
Not surprised that Chepo failed again. Wow.
I'm sure Chepo was
devastated. Unlike inferior coaches, we prioritize the league above a Copa.
That's legit. Although La Volpe couldn't even win inferior cup.
Yeah, but you have to remember, Fernando, I know you're a Copa MX aficionado, and you know that like this is really the first half of a tie that they play because
it's a group stage.
It's a group stage thing, but the winners of the home and home get like an extra point or something like that. Like whoever wins the series. So it's not over just yet. Chepo's still, it's just 3-2 on aggregate. It was just the first half. No, anyway, it was a really entertaining match. It was both teams were playing.
Your boy saw some action.
Oh man, I want Chepo to do some career rehab for my boy Chaton, who is a player that could just be just a devastating game changer if he ever got going. He was a devastating game changer. He was a really good midfielder.
Well, it's going to take him a bit. Clearly, I'm not going to lie. I was surprised that he hadn't been able to make the starting 11 the first 2 weeks.
Well, he's coming off injury. Chepo doesn't want to overdo it that much. This.
Hopefully, that's all it is, and hopefully, it's not anything more.
Well, you know what his problem is right now, Dan, is he's got hair. He needs to get the buzz going.
Yeah, he needs to take the Chicharito approach of buzzing it again.
Right.
Going back to what worked.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So hopefully we'll see Chaton get more minutes for Santos. And Dan, so your boys Santo, they won over the weekend.
Yes,
I think that the ghost of relegation, I think, is you see it go further and further down the tunnel. That's good.
Yeah, I think I don't think they're going to be really stressed about that. I think right now at this point is just building a team to start competing for titles. I think the worst of it is past,
which is what you're accustomed to.
Yes, and and like I've said before in previous podcasts, I'm looking more and more feeling more optimistic about the kids that they're being brought up. It's they got canteranos that are actually starting, and they're getting good results with them on the field. So that's very promising.
Yeah. Do you think it had
hopefully for the national team
with Chepo's new glasses? Do you think that kind of changed it up for him a little bit?
I don't think so.
No.
Could
that have been Chepo's problem the whole time? He couldn't see. Is that why he was standing there squinting so much when he was standing there?
Well, he still looks angry though.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed. He still looks pretty pissed all the time.
Well, the best fans are the optimist fans. So Dan, I'm happy for you that you have some optimism heading into the season. So hopefully.
Oh man, I'm not even stressed, man. We're making the Liga. How far we go, that's to be determined. But this team's only going to get better. That I'm sure of.
Yeah. So if your boys win the title, would you put green and white war stripes on your kid's face and post a picture on our website?
I absolutely will.
Yeah.
And if I get drunk enough, I might have to consider getting a Chepo tattoo.
Now we just need Joel
with a picture of Fernando.
Joel, you guys know where each other live. I mean, Joel, when you should go to in the final, since you're now the Cambiarrayas Cuadrado, when you're a Chepo fan, watching your boy Chepo win the final. If they win, you better bring that bottle so that Dan can get his Chepo tattoo. You should both get matching Chepo tattoos.
Chepo tats.
Yeah.
Chepo brothers.
What you should do is have the tattoo where half his face is on one arm and half the other face is on the other. So when you guys stand next to each other, it completes it. It completes the Chepo tat.
Shoulder to shoulder.
That's right.
I like it. And he could be wearing a Santos jersey on mine, and he could wear
not chest,
Chivas on his.
That's right.
Half a chest and half a chest. A pec tattoo.
If that happened, I think you guys would probably rip a hole in the space-time continuum. If that ever happened. It's good for Santos, good for Chepo, good for the league, man. It's that's a good story.
I'm a fan of comedy, John, and I'm just thinking, man, it'd just be like the ultimate F you to Vergara if you were to pull this off, and a big F you to everybody, because people, I think it's extremely unfair how he's been painted as to be a poor coach, and like Joel mentioned, I think last week, how it's just. What he did with the national team apparently is unforgivable, and I just think it's kind of a little extreme.
The fans will continue judging you for that, which it happened to Mesa.
It would be ironic, wouldn't it, Dan, if when Chepo gets the trophy and it says, Chepo, would you have anything to say? And he goes,
you, you're cool, and I'm out.
I also think Galindo should be coaching. So
Yeah, man, absolutely. Another proven winner.
Who has
Not
won
getting any kind
titles?
of
Who
love.
has won titles? And won one for Santos. Was it two years ago?
I think it was more than that.
I think it was 2 years ago.
No, that was with Caixinha.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Man, I'm terrible with dates, dude. I can't even remember my kid's
Or was it
birthday.
the one with when Oribe was going bananas?
I think that's the one.
Hey, by the way, Joel, Leon is playing now. They're on TV. Did you see who the striker is?
And he had them playing spectacular during the 2005 Copa Libertadores. Galindo.
oh yeah, that's when they beat Boca. He was the coach.
Yeah.
John,
Hey.
you were actually when you were talking about Gullit, he was actually he was in the screen warming up.
There you go.
But yeah, he just needs a 6-pack and
A
just let him
6-pack and a
play.
drive.
He needs a 6-pack and a 6-pack.
A cruise around town.
Actually, that game is already played, I believe.
Oh, I'm sure it is taped late, but it's just funny to me that they're playing Hulit where God intended him to play.
And apparently somebody scored for Leon.
Well, yeah, are you gonna spoil the game? You can go ahead and spoil it. If it's already happened, that's fine.
Yeah, Gullit scored. It was Leon 3-0, I think.
And then Hulit scored. Well, there you go.
Yeah, he scored one. It was a tap-in, sort of, but
Hey, ask Chicharito if they count the same.
Hey, he's still
Now it's time to
Chivas.
celebrate.
Gullit is still a Chiva player.
That's right. He's just on loan, isn't he?
I don't know how that works. You pay this big amount, and then you loan him back.
so
And
I
you
think
have
it's
to-
I think it's the smartest thing they did.
They're renting him is what they're doing.
And then you have to wonder if they're paying him all his wages. Is Leon even paying his wages in full?
he's at tequila money.
Either way, though, Joel, I mean, that dude was useless on your team, man. So no matter.
No, I don't think so. His first season, he was a top scorer. I think they didn't know how to
all those
play
were
him.
penalty kicks. Yeah, exactly. They. Oh, why don't they ever read our columns, man?
I don't know, man. And then here is even despite what Juwan says, I don't think it all comes down to Almeida because I know Higuera likes to put his input and say this guy needs to be here or this guy needs to be there. So
It's amazing how when a team's winning, everyone wants to take the credit. Oh, it's because I was the one that facilitated the
yeah, exactly. And I think I think you hit the nail in the head right there. I think Higuera wants to be that guy that finally something does happen. He's like, he will be.
But
He wants his share of the credit.
he doesn't go down the field and get his.
Yeah, actually they did.
He did. It was him.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
For the I think Copa MX for the medals.
medal. Pitiful. Yeah, but if Almeida, the best coach in LigaMX.
What?
He's got to be per Pern. He's got to be doing everything.
He's the greatest coach in history.
He's playing Gullit where he should have been. It's just Gullit's fault.
Nah, they won the Copa MX, but the team had already before he arrived had already made the Copa MX final.
Can I ask you a question? As a, I know you're a true Chivas fan.
Yes, sir.
And I don't want to embarrass you. But when they had that parade after winning the Chivas MX trophy, they had the parade with the bus and everything like that. Weren't you just a little embarrassed?
Yeah, yes, sir. I was. Yes, sir. I was, man. It's just for that cup, and it's a cup that we've talked about that we wanted to get better, but the structure is going to have to change for that to happen, because as it is, not all of the teams play on it. So sometimes you could win it, but some really good, strong teams didn't even participate, and that's part of it. So I mean, it's good to win it, but not to make a big deal about it. And
you know what? I honestly believe that this show is very cathartic for you, because I think you get to just lay off all of this Chivas angst that's obviously been weighing. For a guy who I know you don't probably get to watch him as much as you like to, but you definitely keep up with, and it just, so we do. It's like we're peeling layers off an onion when we're
Oh man.
and we're
Nah, it's been this way for a long time,
we're trying to
John.
get
It must be rough for him,
self-hate,
John,
yeah.
because he's like the only guy I know who talks about Chivas like this.
Yeah.
Everybody else is so annoying in the complete delusion they live under.
It's like if
all the time.
Imagine if Fernando was a true Chivas fan. Just
was full on Chivista?
Yeah, 100%.
Not just 50%.
No, 100% Tapatío. Fernando, when the phone rings, would get a. Though.
I need that
ringtone. I was a Chivas fan who on Twitter, how Juventus came out with their new logo.
Yeah, the double J.
A Chivas fan came out with a C written in crayon and MS Paint or something, and said, "Here's the Chivas logo with a C."
It's funny though, that logo looks as bad as the new Chargers logo. Talk about bad logos, man.
So just on a quick side note here, Dan. Dan, you're our San Diego correspondent. Pardon my French, but holy shit! How could this happen?
People don't care.
Wow.
People just are that. Well, I think people are resentful toward the Spanos in general. I think they feel they've probably taken a lot of money from the city and didn't care enough to keep them around.
Wow. Do people not know how revenue bonds work?
I don't know. I don't know anybody who's torn up about it personally.
Would it have been different if they had been like really good? Well, if they were really good, that wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's one of the complaints that they always had toward them is the fact that they never produced consistently winning teams.
Now, let me ask you an honest question: who's more popular in San Diego, Cholos or the Padres?
Damn. Woo. That's a good one.
I think Padres, man. I think the Cholos is like a niche crowd that watches them. That goes.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, we don't live there, but you guys.
I could
give it the front
that
page treatment, don't they?
There's a huge crossover between the cities. There's a ton of people that commute back and forth. Because this was easily a Chargers town. I mean, if there was a team that they cared about, it was the Chargers. I've been to Padres games, man. It's sad, man. Nobody shows up.
How would an MLS team do in San Diego?
Terribly. This isn't a sports town.
I'll tell you what. One thing that wouldn't surprise me happening at all is if Cholos one day becomes part of MLS.
Man, that would be messed up.
That'd be terrible.
That would be terrible. Like you already hear about.
That was like the most offensive thing I've said to y'all. Oh, that'd be the worst thing that could ever happen.
Hey, seriously, I mean, come on.
That's equivalent to like Santana selling our land to the gringos.
I don't have.
Another team who would do very well in MLS. Who was another team who would do very well in MLS? Honestly.
Chivas?
No, not Chivas.
They already tried that.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking, and I'm being honest here. Monterrey would be a very good market.
Yeah, and they already good at losing to Panamanian teams.
That's right.
So they got that going for them.
That's right.
Well, that's the thing with Chelsea that's different is that they have a bunch of players that play for the U.S. national team, and a lot of their if you've seen Nate, a lot of their Twitter and a lot of their advertising is, "Oh, Cholos, we have a USMNT players," and they do the hashtag for them and all this.
I think that's
want
cool.
to sell tickets. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a good strategy.
I don't have an issue with if they're bringing up players that are going to be future future Nads. I mean, that's cool. I mean, that if that's the I mean, that's part of their, if it's part of the area that they have to recruit to build their team, that's fine. That's part of it. But to make it an MLS team now, I don't mind Americans playing in the Mexican league.
Boy, I really struck a nerve with you guys. That's hilarious.
That's offensive, man.
What did you say, Dan? That you don't mind what playing in the Mexican League?
I don't mind Americans playing in. I think I like it. I like seeing pochos out there like me playing, whether they play for the U.S. or Mexico.
But Cholos gets front page. They get front page coverage, right? In San Diego.
They do get coverage, yeah.
But
but I'd like to see actually more Americans that don't have ties to Mexico, because I mean in the 90s you had what's his name, the coach, he was the Dynamo coach, I forget who's coaching now, Kinnear, what's his name, Dominic. Yeah, he was with Necaxa. No, he was with Necaxa.
Clay Goyman was with Cruz Azul.
Yeah. There you go.
Mike Sorber lived at Bora's house. He played for Pumas and played well for Pumas.
Yeah, Sorber, I remember.
Sorber. And
Alexi
Alexi
Lalas played in Leon, didn't he?
No, it was Marcelo Balboa.
Yeah.
It was Sorber, Kinnear, Balboa. There was another one. Jesus, I can't remember the name.
That was the one where your team missed out on, man. I was really hoping to see Donovan play at America.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
It would have been so awesome, man. Like, because seriously, I mean, I've never seen a greater villain than Donovan.
Man,
and to see him on the most hated team in Mexico,
it would have been a brilliant move for both people.
You could get him. He could start peeing on other people's on other teams.
He had already peed at the Jalisco, yeah.
So I mean,
so he was already an Americanista. He was baptized Americanista indirectly.
Oh man.
Damn.
Wow. Sorry about that, Joel. Here, Joel.
You remember that? That was a pretty scandal of the
oh yeah.
There
you go, Joel. Make you feel better.
Well, Joel, I think did mention the lines for the restroom, so you can't blame him.
He was warming up, and he was stretching his leg, and then he just released himself.
He had no idea that there was a camera out there, and I'm sure that he ain't the first, and he hadn't been the last. So let's not pretend that he was the only one that's ever done that.
Anyway, I was going to ask Joel a question. If Gulli comes back to Chivas like Fierro did, is he going to cry again?
He's going to do what? He's going to come back right. He's going to come back.
We have some pride. We have some passion this time.
Who knows, man? It depends who the coach is. The last I heard was that Almeida was fed up with him. That guy had been partying a lot, and
Did you ever party with him when you went to Guadalajara?
No, I haven't been there in years, John.
You and Hulet didn't?
It's been years since I've been.
Do y'all remember in the right before the France '98 World Cup when the whole England was hanging on Gaza? Was he going to make it? Was he not going to make it? And there was news that he and Rod Stewart went on a bender like 3 days before, whatever it was, and then he didn't make it. And Rod Stewart was like devastated. He blamed himself. We shouldn't have gone out. Did y'all ever get to see him play when he was on Gaza?
I just saw clips from the '90 World Cup.
I saw Gaza towards the end of his career. I mean, I didn't see him because obviously, I didn't have access to what was it? Fox Sports World came out, I think, in 96, 97, something like that. So I saw him towards the end. I mean, obviously, I did see the '96 Euro.
Oh, you remember the goal he scored against Scotland?
Scotland, yeah, that was a nice one.
Yeah, y'all remember that? Y'all, what goal we're talking about?
It was a nice little sombrerito.
He did a little sombrero, and he Yeah, it was in like at Wembley, like in the middle of the day. I mean, the sun. I mean, just you couldn't have asked for and against the Scots.
We weren't born yet, I think.
96. No, I think you were probably born, Fernando. You were.
Fernando.
No, seriously, Fernando.
Maybe he was.
If you've never seen it, definitely it's absolutely worth a look on the YouTube.
Yeah.
In fact, if you can, we can post links on our little chat, right? We can or
Yeah.
show that stuff. I think we should because that's I'll let our technical director.
Have you seen? I mean, he looks bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was like.
Are you surprised?
No, he's a drunk. He's a drunkard. No, but he. I mean, I don't even think he's gonna last. I mean, I was surprised George Best lasted as long as he did.
George is one of the greatest quotes in soccer history. He said, "I spent all my money on booze and women, and the rest I wasted." God bless.
That is a good one. The one that I love, and I don't even know it by heart, but it's the one from Cantona where after he kicks that fan,
right,
and he just gives this philosophical, something about the trawlers and to the press. That's a good one. Basically, the gist of it is that you guys are just there waiting for me to do something.
Yeah, you know what? My one of my favorite best quotes when he said, "I gave up women and alcohol. It was like the worst 20 minutes of my life."
This reminds me of Picante. On the forums they're talking about Picante, and David Faltes was fighting with that Olmo guy, and he was saying madrazos is part of the game, and Faltes was saying no, it's not. And I agree, it is part of the game.
It is. I do too. I'm with you.
It's not part of the sport of soccer, but it's part of the game. If you're in a competition, you're going to fight.
Yeah.
It's competitive.
And you do get hit throughout the game. A lot of times you don't see it, but
and same with like what you're talking about with George Best and all that. Part of the game is booze and women, because that's all the players are doing. I mean, it's not. It's part of the whole.
I think they actually should make it a natural part of the game. They should involve, like, take 2 shots if you want to, from give you a free kick from further out or whatever it is.
Oh man,
absolutely.
Bullet likes your idea, John.
Well, it sort of is because you have booze all in the stadiums and you have these cheerleaders.
He's a throwback. He's a throwback.
Yeah. Did you ever hear that quote from, I think it was Slatan, or where I think he I don't know how he said something about his dad that, like, when he left the house, he told his dad, "You're in control of the house now," or something.
Yeah, you're the man of the house now.
Yeah, you're the man of the house now.
When they left.
What a dick.
It's funny about Cantona. He was supposed to be in the World Cup here in the U.S. in '94, but Risto scored a hell of a goal to take it away from him when they beat him, and then Bulgaria goes to the semifinals. Crazy how that works out. That was a really good France team too. They had Cantona, they had Papin, they had all the guys that obviously won the tournament in '98. Would have been a really good team as well.
For some of you guys that don't know Gaza, there's a famous picture of him and Vinnie Jones. Where Vinnie Jones from, like, the snatch and
right. Used to play for Wimbledon.
Yeah, just grabbing his nuts.
Yes, I have seen that.
Oh man.
There's also one of Vinnie Jones taking out like a 6-year-old that I post occasionally. It's really funny. They asked him about it later. It says, they said, why on earth would you foul that kid? He says, I went for the ball. Said it wasn't a foul. I went for the ball. Good defending. Good defending from Vinnie Jones.
Did you guys read about the possible ideas that FIFA's throwing out? I think it was Marco Van Basten about, things that they're like discussing is to, like, he would like to see the game without the offside rules. That it works in that it worked in lacrosse or handball in Europe. Do something similar to the shootouts as opposed to the penalties. which MLS did that.
So basically, he's going to bring back the NASL. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah, the NSA, the old NASL, they had something similar to.
Yeah, they had the
offsides.
MLS had an offsides line like hockey.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a hockey, but because I guess the way his line of thinking was that many teams, they formed their teams as to how they're going to defend. So he wants to kind of break away from that, which I don't know. Maybe a team can do give it a go, just for like one season.
Well, if he wants to make it like handball, he's going to have to make the nets a whole lot bigger.
Yeah,
I'm serious. You have much more accuracy with your hand than you do with your foot, and much more velocity too. So I've always thought that if they really wanted to improve it, I would make the goal like a half a meter wider and a quarter meter taller. But that's how you get more scoring. Make the goal bigger. Could you imagine if soccer was like handball, where it's just like 11, like all 22 guys moving, down the field, like almost like football?
It wasn't that long ago where it was just 2 points for the game, for the win, one for the. I think that maybe to encourage more offense, to basically change up the point system. Like if you win by 3 or 4 goals.
Oh, that would be very mean. But you're right. So if you win by like more than 3 goals, then you get like 6 points,
or something like that, or even like 3.5 points, or something. But to incentivize, the teams to attack more.
Well, I do know that they are talking about having shootouts at the end of the group stage when they do that crazy group stage in 2026. Where I guess it'll be like hockey, where like you're still going to get a point for losing, but the other team's going to get a point if they win the shootout, so they get 2 points. So it'd be 3-2-1. Unfortunately, what that means is that the minnows are going to desperately play for penalty kicks, because that's going to be one way for them to get through.
That shootout deal is such a huge mistake.
You don't like it, Fernando?
Not at all.
I don't like any drastic changes.
It's a vestigial of the trash from MLS.
Does soccer really need fixing like that, though?
The only I think we talked about it last week, but I don't think it needs too much of fixing. The only thing is, like, all the finals seem to go to penalties because everyone plays so tightly. I think that there needs to be some type of change. And I think you mentioned something last week on how to do that, like the golden goal or something.
Well, what you could do is if you go to extra time, maybe you each team loses a guy, so you're down to 10. And then in the second extra time, I know for the circumstances, but it was pretty obvious that 9 versus 9 in the Tigres America game, and I think both teams had chances to score, was very open. So that's one thing that they can do to change.
Now it's open. Now the field's open.
It was always. I know we never said it wasn't.
Okay, that was the point that I was trying to make. That
but it's open for both teams. Though it wasn't just open for Tigres.
No, but no.
Right.
But the point was that the point that I was making then was that because it was 9-on-9, obviously there's more passing lanes. So America, being the defender, was at a disadvantage now because obviously they.
But I guess that's what I didn't understand. Is like, why on earth would they want to be defending that much when they can take advantage of the same things? That's what I didn't get, because they needed to win the game too.
No, at that time.
Oh, at that point, you're right. At that point, they were defending the lead, but still.
Yeah.
But still, they. I mean, again, you're at that point. Your best defense is an offense. So. Well, let me put you this way. Do you think that if America would have decided to maybe attack more when it was 9 versus 9, do you think that their chances would have been a little different?
Honestly, I think they were, La Volpe didn't really concede until like the last 7 or so minutes of the second half. So I think he did it right. I mean,
Yeah, it was the last minute of the second half.
yeah, it was.
It was almost
He
the
did
last
it.
minute of injury time. It was
He
very painful.
he did it right as to terms as to like as to bunker. Now, if he would have bunkered the entire 15 minutes, I would have said something.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you
But
do you have his number? Are you in constant communication with Enrico Ton?
no.
No.
I lost his number.
No. And his response is always the same.
Yo siempre digo que el fútbol algunas veces, en mi punto de vista, es como un ajedrez.
You know, he's like, dude, it was a chess match. I had to counter. I had to pick my spots. Had to move my pieces. Had to move my pieces. So I think we're all in agreement that the shootout no bueno, or the run up shootout, I guess, not the penalty kick.
It's definition of trash.
The very definition. So when I look up trash in the dictionary, I see a picture of a shootout.
Yes, that's exactly what was in my mind when you said that. You read my mind.
I guess it's kind of like the penalty shot in hockey when they have shootout. Don't they know what Ronnie, you're a hockey guy. Isn't that what they do in hockey?
I never
I'm
seen
not.
a hockey
I'm not
match.
really much of a hockey guy. I've been to like a couple hockey games, but
Yeah, you get into a fight.
Honestly,
You did, didn't you?
No. It's not something I really plan on following.
He's a rugby guy. Ronnie's a rugby guy.
I like rugby. Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna carry rugby on our channel.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the Huns, the Austin Huns.
I'd like for the U.S. to make a bid for the Rugby World Cup.
Do they have
It'd be
stadiums
awesome.
to play it in?
Well, of course they do.
But doesn't the field have to be like bigger, like much bigger?
No. They have
the bigger than the football field.
Yeah, they have the stadium for it. The next one is in Tokyo. I think it is.
It seems like the Rugby World Cup is always in a time zone that you have to get up like at 2 a.m. to watch the games.
Well, that's one of the things that, and they've gone better. I mean, they've gone better. In fact, Mexico, they have a rugby team, Los Serpientes, which they're, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're only like a couple games away from qualifying to the World Cup.
That would be fantastic.
Yes,
they would get their asses beaten every which way, but it would be fun to watch.
You know what? It would be great. It would be badass. It really would. It really would.
They'd be like Kevin Bacon in Animal House. They'd be on their getting the paddle from the upperclassmen. Thank you for letting me be part of your club for this week.
Well, that's one of the things that I wish that the Mexican Federation, soccer, would start, promoting or helping out is the rugby.
My school in Mexico City we had a rugby team. I didn't get to play on it because I left it on 6th grade, but I did play on the. Oh wow, that was a nice goal on the. Rugby's fun. I always like watching Fiji because I know that they weren't necessarily going to win, but they were going to run really fast whenever they broke on the outside. And that was always a really fun strategy to see when they could get it going. It was really exciting because you just don't see that in rugby very often.
No.
Do they still play like that, Fiji?
Fiji, I didn't watch the Fiji game this past World Cup. The games that I watched mostly were with, if I'm honest, I saw the U.S. Russia game. I saw the U.S. Georgia game, if I recall. I saw most. I think I missed only one of the U.S. matches. I saw Argentina play a lot. I saw obviously Australia.
That's right. You said you're a big Pumas fan.
Well, no, I mean I want them to do well, obviously, because obviously, I mean it wasn't a surprise that the 4 semifinals were the powerhouses, which was New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, and
right. So it's always those 3 and some lucky invitee.
Yeah, Argentina made a push for it, but the thing is that Argentina now is they're in the because they used to do the Tri Nations, which was it was kind of like like a Copa America of sorts,
Right.
but it was for the one from the Southern Hemisphere, which was obviously New Zealand, Australia, and South Africa. But they invited Argentina. So
Really?
well, yeah,
Wow, good for them. Yeah, because they have that in Europe. They have the I forget what they call the Five Nations. I think was that what
yeah,
it is?
something
Five
like
Nations?
the 5 or 6 nations, something
Yeah.
like that.
And they play each other. They play every year, man. It is. I remember when I was in Paris and England came to Paris and they beat them. And I remember the gentleman whose house I was staying. When I asked who won, because I didn't know who had won, and he looked at me and he said, "C'est une catastrophe pour la France." And then he went on, and he was so sad. I'd never seen him so depressed. He was just beside himself. But just he's like, and then like he said, I don't mind losing, but he said, but you can't lose to the English.
You know what? Speaking of which, that's what probably Monterrey needs to do, is they need to hire an Englishman and have that Englishman-Frenchman rivalry in La Sultana. Because you have Guignac.
Yeah, absolutely. They should get like who would be perfect for Monterrey is Harry Redknapp. He would be just delightful in Monterrey, I think.
You need a drunkard.
I think Ferdinand. Oh, there you go.
A drunkard Englishman.
Like the English version of Thomas Boy.
That's what you need. You need to raise the ante up.
Interesting. Well, I said earlier that I thought that Monterrey and Cholo should be in MLS, and I struck a nerve, Ron. They were not happy with me.
Repeat that again. You said what?
that it wouldn't surprise me, like down the road if Cholos and Monterrey ended up in MLS.
Hearn goes crazy.
And yeah, but Fernando just and then both he and Dan both were just like I.
That is disgraceful.
You know what? Honestly, with the whole the way FIFA's changed, Blatter obviously wouldn't have accepted that because obviously, MLS has a league, Mexico has a league.
Yeah, but Canada has teams in MLS.
That's because they don't have the support to have their own league. They don't have the.
Yeah,
they can have their own league.
No,
it'd be really weak. It'd be less than minnow.
Yeah, it would be minnow.
So
there's for example,
they get a pass because of that.
There's actually a lot of leagues that get a pass. Monaco gets a pass; they get to play in the French league.
Monaco is the size of European.
Exactly. Liechtenstein gets a pass; they get to play in
Frozen.
No, Liechtenstein plays as its own country. Oh, but the league. But again,
the league.
Does Liechtenstein have a league?
What's that?
Do they have a league?
If it is, it's not enough to sustain.
Well, I think Canada is. I may be bad at geography, but I'm gonna go on a limb and think that Canada is a little bigger than Liechtenstein. I think they have a few more population centers in Liechtenstein.
Okay, well, Wales is another one. Cardiff.
You're right because Swansea they played their Welsh team, right?
And Cardiff City and stuff like that. So there's actually 3 or 4 Welsh teams.
Yeah, but
that play in the English football pyramid. But the problem with Canada is that you only have a couple cities. You only have a couple cities that could even actually, you have Toronto, you have Vancouver, you have. What is it?
There's Montreal. There's also Edmonton. There's Calgary, Winnipeg,
and that's really it.
Well,
all the other cities don't have. Canada only has like 32 something million.
You can have but they have the CFL. The CFL thrives. So you can't tell me that a soccer league wouldn't thrive in Canada. CFL's older than the NFL. CFL's been around for almost 100 years.
I know, but keep in mind, CFL's also had a lot of financial problems.
I actually find CFL football to be very exciting. I think it's fun.
Because they like offense.
There's a
Well,
league in Jamaica. Is there a league in Jamaica or Trinidad?
There is, because they have teams in the
Yes,
CONCACAF.
and they do have a Trinidad. They
Or-
have, in fact, I know this because Chivas.
Look-
I think they lost to West Connection.
They did lose. They
Or-
were humiliated by W Connection. You're
Sorry,
absolutely
sorry,
correct.
Joel.
If they can support a league, then maybe Canada can.
Joel, was it West Connection or was it Joe Public?
No, I think it was W Connection.
Okay.
Well, W Connection. Well, left.
Yeah,
He's
I know. In fact, that team, West Connection, they were the team comprised of microbuseros, and fishermen.
yeah, full time workers and other stuff.
Yeah, I know. That was messed up. Where's Joel, by the way?
That's what Canada.
He needs to talk.
He has left. Joel has left, but he didn't even say goodbye. He goes, I work tonight. Got to get going. Good show, fellas. Send me the notes later, chiquis.
Okay.
So there you go. Well, maybe with Joel stepping off, we have we'll round it off at a nice 2 hours here in 10 minutes. So, Ron, you've seen America play. It's only been 1 week. They had a good win tonight. You don't see any reason other than to think that things are going to be normal, good season. Your expectations are tempered.
Well, I mean, La Volpe wanted obviously another player. I don't know. I think you're right in the term in respect to Darwin Quinteros, that I think this is his last chance to really, make his mark on the team.
Sure.
And if he plays how he played in Santos, which that's what we all wanted, I think they have a chance. Peralta needs to step it up as well. One of the bright spots is that La Volpe, he's shown some of the younger players from the cantera. It seems like he's given them a couple, some confidence. Obviously, that's a good thing.
Yeah, the defenders are pretty good.
So, it's. I'm not going to say that. Oh, they're going to be in the final. Like last time around, I was confident that they had the team to do it. I just don't know if Darwin and Peralta. I mean, we need them. If they're off, I see a quarterfinal exit.
All right. So you're putting the season entirely on the shoulders of Darwin Quintero and Oribe Peralta.
Well,
that's fair. I think that's fair. That's fair.
Not just solely, but obviously they have a lot to do with the offensive output.
Right.
If you don't score, you don't win.
So a successful year by them means that they're going to have a successful year.
Yeah. If they have successful, I think Darwin. First and foremost, if they keep their heads cool, not just those two players, but just the entire team. And that's one thing that La Volpe did, is that he got that team down to very little bookings and red cards prior to the final.
It made a huge difference.
It did, obviously did. And more than anything, I just at least for the next two or 3 weeks, I would. The players are. I mean, I still sense that the players are they're a little off. I think they're just they played a lot.
So then the goal for America then is to not let it get too far away from them early in the season, because they're going to struggle.
No, yeah, I think that La Volpe needs to spread it out a little, and not burn out.
Right.
And I think that it would do America good in the long run, in terms of getting other players into the mix and stuff like that.
Target the middle of the pack for the league, because frankly, all you have to do is just make it, because there's really no home field advantage. It's just you make the Liguilla and then away you go. So that seems like a.
I wouldn't look at the loss to Toluca. I mean, that's really a tough place to get a win anyhow.
Yeah, if your team looks good and Toluca loses, they just be happy with that and move on, because you're right that is a very, very tough place to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that my team doesn't do very well at all when they go to Toluca, and it's like a 30-minute ride. I mean, it's just
What's the I always forget there's like a record or like there's a like a streak. Is it Chivas at Pumas or is it
no, it's
or is
been
it the
Pumas at Chivas. Pumas hasn't won since 1982
Pumas has not won
in
has not won it?
Guadalajara.
Really?
Yeah, in the regular season, they've
In the
won
regular
in
season.
they've won in
So
Liguilla.
so hold on. When Pumas beat Chivas like 7-2, 7-1 or something like that, like 8-2 is like a massacre. So that was at the that was played at the Unam, right?
I would guess, yeah.
Okay. Because I know there's also another statistic of a team having a horrible record at the Bombonera. I just don't remember. I didn't remember if that was Pumas or Chivas.
It would surprise if it was Pumas because they actually, I think the last time they won, I think Bruno Marioni was there.
Okay.
Was there forward, so it's been a while, but it hadn't been like that much.
Okay.
Fernando, your Rayados are hanging in there.
Yes, they are.
Do you expect what is your expectation for the season?
Well, the league is the parity is so close, so it's really hard, like to say, oh, they're gonna do. You can only expect the best, but we do need a change in leadership in regards to the coaching.
What happened with you and is he not returning your calls anymore? I mean, did he? What is going on?
It's just that we have a great team, and looks like
No le está sacando jugo, I think is what you're saying.
Yes, that's exactly it. Like he's just demonstrated. It's like what, his third season now, with an amazing.
So he's underachieving, and you think that you need to get someone there that can get the players to play up to their potential. Who would that be, Fernando? If you're
Teach, bring them back, damn it.
How? Okay. Why would a team like Monterrey, who has been dying to have success for 40 years, finally get a coach where they just do unbelievably? Why on earth they name a street after the guy, and then they fire him after because he had one bad season?
It was a mistake, big mistake.
Who does that?
Well, obviously Monterrey.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So okay, he's not available. Who are you bringing in?
If possible, Almeida, but
really,
he's not available either.
Well, a few losses and he might be available. So interesting. So I don't know, Fernando. I feel like you're a little bearish on your pandilla. So
yeah, I do think that it's up in the air. So
wow. Usually you're so confident, Fernando, to hear this this. I guess I'll call it pragmatism, and and a real centered look at and realistic expectation of your team. I'm impressed, man. You've
well, I'm not.
You're evolving.
I can make proper assessments of certain situations.
Well, I'm sure you can, and you have, and you will continue to do so. Is Dan has fallen off? Chiquis, what gatos are you on this week?
Pumas.
Are you back to Pumas?
Nicolas Castilla has brought hope back to Pumas, so
he has.
They're going to be dynamic with him at the front. The tijera that he scored, that was pretty sweet. So even from the first game, you could tell this guy was doing something new.
Yeah, and Cruz Azul is I don't care what people say that they are a tough out regardless of how poorly or whatever kind of they're playing. They're always a tough team to beat, home or away. So yeah, anytime you beat them is good. That's those are good 3 points.
And the thing with Tigres, the other gato is that they're still playing their subs. I don't think they're playing the full team. Like America, are they playing their full team? As opposed to Tigres, they're just like coasting. They're not even caring right now.
So they haven't brought in the.
I think Gignac is not starting.
Well, they play America this week, so they're gonna, this is a game. Frankly, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this game ended up 0-0 anyway. I just don't think that either team can afford to lose, and they'll just say, "Hey, thanks. We'll see y'all later in the season."
Yeah,
but who knows?
It should be exciting, but we'll see.
Hopefully, it will be. Hopefully, maybe I'm being too cynical, but maybe we'll see some excitement as you say. And I wish we had Joel on. He had to fall off. I was going to ask him about the Pulido injury, but it looks like he's going to end up playing. So Chivas have a match against Cholos, and Pumas actually plays Leon, so I'll get to see Julio at striker firsthand. We'll get to see how that plays out for us, Chiquis. If it works out for Leon or not. Hopefully, at least for this game, hopefully it won't. So
yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think that was an excellent show, guys. It was really enjoyable. It was entertaining. I think informative. One of our better shows. So I think thank you all very much for your stuff. It was everyone was bringing the heat tonight. So it was good.
Thank you, John. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, y'all have a great night.
Likewise.
Yep.
This has been
later, Parent. Later, Beto.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Excellent. Well, this has been the Los Acero Football Podcast. Oof, there I did it again. This has been the CantinaMX Football Podcast. Oof, I have to get used to that. It's only been 3 weeks. You would figure it out. But we do thank you guys for joining us, and want to mention that we're on every Wednesday night at 9:30 on YouTube, and of course you can listen to this and all the previous editions of the CantinaMX Football Podcast on iTunes. So thank you guys very much, and we will talk to you guys next week.